We are counting down 7 fashion brands whose legacy and prestige are vanishing faster than ever. From once coveted labels now flooding outlet racks, to household names whose resale values have collapsed overnight, this ranking exposes how overproduction, discount addiction, and viral trends are sabotaging long-term value. Which brand's downfall is most severe, and what does it reveal about the future of accessible luxury? Let us begin with number 7. Michael Kors once promised a taste of luxury for the masses, but the numbers tell a different story. Between 2011 and 2014, annual handbag production exploded from around 6 million to nearly 25 million units. What began as an accessible designer label quickly turned into a volume-driven powerhouse, flooding the market with signature totes and logo-heavy satchels. Outlets, once a side channel, now outnumber flagship stores, offering racks of nearly identical bags at deep discounts year-round. On the resale platforms that now serve as the true scoreboard for brand health, the impact is immediate. Bags that retail for over $300 routinely appear within months for less than half that price. A piece picked up at full retail can lose its value before it even leaves the shopping bag, with hundreds of listings competing to undercut each other. Scarcity, once the foundation of luxury, has vanished. The signature Kors hardware, once a badge of status, now signals overproduction and discount hunting. This is not a story of scandal or creative collapse, but of scale overwhelming exclusivity. Michael Kors sits at number 7 because its deterioration stems from a deliberate bet on mass appeal. The result is clear. When luxury becomes ubiquitous, its value evaporates. The countdown begins with the proof that volume alone can erase a legacy. Coach once stood for American heritage and timeless design, but the playbook has changed. Under Stuart Vevers, the brand now operates on a near constant cycle of newness, with seasonal collections, capsules, collaborations, and sublines arriving in stores almost every few weeks. Each drop is treated like an event, designed to spark emotional, impulse-driven buying rather than long-term loyalty. The effect is relentless. Bags released just months earlier are swept aside by the next wave of product, and yesterday's must-have becomes today's clearance item. This accelerated churn is not just a creative choice, it is a merchandising strategy that keeps consumers chasing the latest trend while erasing the shelf life of any single design. The result is visible on resale platforms that act as the industry's real scoreboard. Most recent season Coach bags, even those in like-new condition, are routinely listed at deep discounts, often around half of their original retail price or less, within a matter of months. Only a handful of heritage or viral models hold their ground. The majority lose value as soon as the next drop hits. What was once a brand built on lasting quality now behaves more like fast fashion, where rapid turnover and constant novelty cannibalize the value of every past purchase. For anyone hoping their bag would be an investment, the numbers tell a different story. The endless collection cycle has turned longevity into a casualty of speed. Kate Spade built its reputation around joyful design and accessible whimsy, but the brand's real engine is the holiday shopping calendar. Each year, inventory swells ahead of gifting season with new patterns and playful motifs timed for maximum appeal. Retailers fill shelves with limited edition colors and seasonal exclusives, all packaged for the perfect present. The rush is intense. Bags and wallets fly off the shelves in November and December, snapped up for graduations, birthdays, and especially Christmas morning. But the party is short-lived. By January, unsold stock crowds the clearance racks. Markdowns of 60 to 70% are not the exception, they are the rule. Seasonal stock-keeping units, once the centerpiece of holiday displays, are now stacked in bulk, their value slashed overnight. The impact spills onto resale platforms almost immediately. In the first quarter, listings for Kate Spade bags surge across Poshmark, eBay, and The RealReal. Prices plummet, with some items selling for less than a third of their original retail tag. The cycle repeats year after year, training buyers to wait for discounts and flooding the secondary market with near-new inventory. Instead of building long-term prestige, the brand has become synonymous with giftability and rapid turnover. The thrill of unboxing a Kate Spade bag fades fast when hundreds of identical pieces hit resale at rock-bottom prices just weeks later. In chasing the perfect seasonal spike, Kate Spade has engineered a system where depreciation is not just likely, it is inevitable. Tory Burch once stood for a new kind of American luxury, preppy, accessible, and aspirational. But the brand's distribution footprint now tells a different story. Today, Tory Burch operates more outlet locations than full-price boutiques, a reversal that few luxury names have survived. The brand's signature pieces, like the Miller sandal and the Fleming bag, are produced in staggering volume and appear on outlet shelves across the country. Walk into any outlet mall and the same silhouettes repeat, season after season, their once coveted status eroded by sheer availability. This is not a case of seasonal clearance or post-holiday markdowns. For Tory Burch, the outlet channel has become the main stage. Shoppers have learned to expect discounts as the default, not the exception. Why pay $300 for a pair of Miller sandals at a flagship when nearly identical versions wait at the outlet for half the price? The answer is clear in the numbers. On resale platforms, Miller and Fleming items routinely sell for just 25 to 35% of their original retail value. Even new in-box pieces struggle to hold more than a third of their purchase price, undercut by an endless supply of discounted alternatives. The repetition of SKUs across so many channels has erased the sense of novelty and exclusivity that once defined the brand. Every outlet arrival, every flash of the double T logo reinforces the message that these products are always available, always negotiable. For buyers, the lesson is simple. Wait for a sale, or better yet, head straight to the outlet. For Tory Burch, the cost is much higher. The brand's shift to permanent discounting has not just trained consumers to expect less, it has undermined the very idea of aspiration. Scarcity is gone, prestige replaced by predictability, and the secondary market has responded with a permanent markdown of its own. Longchamp's Le Pliage tote was never meant to be rare. Released in 1993, the bag was designed for everyday use, lightweight and practical, and unmistakably French. Over 3 decades, it did not just become popular, it became inescapable. Today, the Le Pliage accounts for more than half of Longchamp's total sales, a single product carrying the weight of an entire brand. Across airports, subways, and city streets from Paris to New York, the same nylon silhouette repeats in every color and size. Retailers from boutiques to department stores and online platforms all stock it, making the bag as accessible as a pair of sneakers. The numbers tell the story of what happens when ubiquity replaces exclusivity. At full retail, a standard Le Pliage tote ranges from $125 to $195. On the secondary market, those same bags routinely list for $40 to $70, sometimes less if the color or condition is not perfect. The resale drop is sharper than fast fashion, and there is no shortage of supply. Resale platforms are crowded with hundreds of near-identical listings, barely used, barely differentiated, and all competing for a shrinking pool of buyers. Scarcity, the old currency of luxury, has been erased by volume. For Longchamp, the Le Pliage's dominance is both a triumph and a trap. The bag's global success has flattened the brand's identity, reducing decades of French craftsmanship to a single, endlessly repeated stock-keeping unit. Attempts to branch out, including limited editions, leather upgrades, and artist collaborations, struggle to make a dent in the public's perception. When over half your revenue depends on one product, any change in taste or trend becomes an existential risk. Ubiquity has killed the tote's status, and with it, Longchamp's ability to command premium prices or inspire lasting loyalty. The secondary market verdict is clear. When a luxury brand becomes a one-item story, its value can evaporate almost overnight. Marc Jacobs once thrived on the energy of social media, but the same viral engine that drove its popularity quickly turned into a liability. In the early 2020s, the brand's tote bags exploded across TikTok and Instagram, sparking a frenzy that saw demand spike in a matter of weeks. Retailers scrambled to keep up, ramping up orders and expanding distribution to capitalize on the sudden attention. The momentum was undeniable. Marc Jacobs tote bags became a fixture in influencer hauls, street-style posts, and unboxing videos, turning what was once a niche accessory into a mass-market staple almost overnight. The response inside the company was immediate: more production, more styles, and more channels. But with every new drop, the line between exclusivity and oversupply blurred. The same silhouettes appeared in multiple collections, often at vastly different price points. A canvas tote with bold block lettering might retail for $200 in one collection, while a near identical version surfaced in another tier for half the price. This approach, once designed to capture every segment of the market, instead created confusion and resentment among buyers. Shoppers who paid full price watched as similar bags popped up at lower costs elsewhere, eroding trust in the brand's value. On the resale market, the fallout was swift. The initial TikTok-fueled hype drove a surge of listings, with sellers hoping to cash in on the trend. But as inventory flooded platforms like Depop, Poshmark, and The RealReal, prices dropped sharply. Bags that once sold out online now lingered for weeks, often discounted by more than half their original retail price. The market had spoken. When a brand chases viral moments without managing supply or maintaining clear product tiers, value evaporates just as quickly as it was created. What set Marc Jacobs apart and ultimately placed it so high on this countdown was the speed and scale of its value collapse. Viral success became a double-edged sword, accelerating the very forces that undermine long-term desirability. The lesson is clear on every resale listing. In the age of social media, hype can destroy as easily as it builds, and unchecked oversupply leaves even the most recognizable brands fighting for relevance. MCM's collapse is not just about fading relevance, it is the clearest case of a brand sabotaging its own value. In the late 2010s, MCM's heavy monogram became a fixture on backpacks, wallets, and crossbodies, promising flashy status at a more accessible price. What followed was a relentless flood of product, each piece stamped with the unmistakable logo and pushed through every available sales channel. The tipping point came when MCM embraced the flash sale model with a vengeance. Instead of holding the line on price, the brand made deep discounts a regular event. Flash sale sites like Gilt and Rue La La routinely offered MCM bags at up to 80% off retail. A backpack that launched for $700 could appear for $140 within weeks. These were not isolated promotions, they became the norm, conditioning shoppers to wait for the next fire sale instead of ever paying full price. The secondary market responded with brutal efficiency. Resale platforms tracked the fallout. MCM pieces, even in pristine condition, lost up to 90% of their original value within just 3 months. A $700 backpack might fetch $70 on Poshmark or The RealReal, sometimes even less if the logo was last season's colorway. Hundreds of near-identical listings crowded the platforms, each one undercutting the next. The logo, once a badge of boldness, now signaled disposability. Scarcity vanished, and with it, any hope of value retention. But the damage was not limited to pricing. As consumer tastes shifted towards subtlety and quiet luxury, MCM's aggressive branding strategy looked increasingly out of touch. The market moved on from loud monograms, favoring minimalist designs and heritage craftsmanship. MCM, still doubling down on its signature print, found itself boxed in. Attempts to pivot with limited editions, collaborations, and toned-down colorways failed to reverse the trend. The core product line, built on maximum visibility, now offered the least amount of prestige. Unlike brands that drifted into decline through slow missteps, MCM's deterioration happened in plain sight and at record speed. The combination of logo overload, constant discounting, and a refusal to adapt to changing tastes created a perfect storm. Flash sale addiction did not just erode margins, it rewired consumer expectations and turned once coveted items into afterthoughts. In the end, the numbers leave no doubt, no other brand on this list has destroyed its own value so quickly or so completely. MCM's story stands as the final, most severe warning. When a brand treats its own products as disposable, the market follows suit and legacy is lost in the markdown bin. Across all 7 brands, one pattern stands out. When fashion chases scale over scarcity, prestige evaporates. Overproduction and endless discounts do not just erode resale value, they erase legacy. Today, secondary markets reveal the true health of a brand in real time. In luxury, credibility is not built by logos or volume, it is built by restraint. Let me know your thoughts below, and thanks for watching.